Hi everyone, this is Sasha and Rak from Women's Fight News. No Susie this week. She's having a little rest this week. I think she's overwhelmed by how much has gone on because it's been a busy week, hasn't it?
It's been a crazy last 48 hours over the weekend. Some big announcements, some big news, some big results.
Yeah, it's like all come in one, hasn't it? Like you say, there was like tons of fights on. Like then the announcements finally come that we've been waiting for a long time. But I'm excited and I want to get straight into it because at last, Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron, it's been confirmed at last. How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, before the fight, before everyone watching boxing knew that Cameron Taylor was going to be announced on this date, and everyone was looking forward to it. Obviously, it's not Serrano, but it's still within the UK. That's a mega fight. That's a big, big,
Yeah.
big fight. Two of the best. And then, of course, the news that we've got literally moments after that Terri Harper and Cecilia Braekhus is also going to be on the card. And the first fight's the main. It's pretty much like the Savannah Marshall Shields card. Alicia
Yeah.
Baumgartner versus Maya was also on the card, and that could have been a main event in itself. So we've got a double main eventer, and
Yeah.
if it wasn't exciting before, now it's even more exciting.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, with the Katie Taylor card, let me just get it on. So if we start with Katie Taylor and Chantelle Cameron, obviously, I think we spoke about this briefly last week, but this fight come about because Katie Taylor called out Chantelle Cameron on Twitter, obviously in a super polite way. Now, I've heard an interview with Chantelle Cameron and they said, how did this fight come about being made? And she said it was from this tweet. Now, I'd have thought this would have been in conversation prior, because obviously, you know, Eddie Hearn would have had wind of Amanda Serrano pulling out due to an injury. But it seems that it's come via this tweet, this Instagram post, sorry, where Katie Taylor said, let's get it done, Eddie Hearn. This homecoming has waited long enough. And then obviously she goes to call out Chantelle Cameron and says that she's happy to move up, with Chantelle Cameron replying that, you know, obviously she's super interested. Do you think this fight would have happened if Katie Taylor didn't put that Instagram?
Probably not. Probably not. I think it definitely got everyone visualizing it, everyone involved, everyone pre-anticipating it. But a part of me as well does think, was that a tactical move by Eddie Hearn? Was that something she was told to? Because Katie Taylor keeps herself to herself. She's quiet. She's the quiet girl. Was that a bit of stirring by Eddie Hearn who probably nudged her? Put a tweet out there. Put a statement out there. Put something out there to get the attention bubbling. I think that could have been the case there because it's so unlike Katie Taylor to be like, yeah, fight me. I'm calling you out. I think it could have been a master tactician behind that maybe, but who knows?
Potentially. I think I've just got a feeling that when Amanda Serrano pulled out, and obviously there was already talks about Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron for September. Obviously, we know how risky this fight is if they're still looking at the Serrano rematch. I really think Eddie Hearn would have turned around and been like, let's scrap May 20th. We'll just leave that. We'll do something else. And then you've got your Croke Park. And I think Katie's thought, fuck that, because I've been waiting an awful long time for this and I want to fight the best of the best. And I think that's why she's done it, because maybe a sense of frustration of I want this fight and it's not happening.
I think out of the two, Katie Taylor and Eddie Hearn, I do think Katie Taylor would have been the one advocating for this fight more than anything. So we probably came to agreement and he was like, okay, put the statement on Twitter and then we'll take it from there. Because yeah, Katie Taylor, she's been out since last year, October. She's been promised her homecoming. If not, she's gonna have to wait until September. Yeah, if I was her, I'd want to fight too, and I want to prove myself. I want another big blockbuster fight, another big headliner, have that homecoming, and yeah, keep things moving forward. So I'm sure in her mind she's going to win this fight, and then she's going to go on to Serrano, have the rematch, and it's going to be even bigger than the first fight in Ireland.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if Katie Taylor beats Chantelle Cameron, it really does elevate the Amanda Serrano fight even more, I think. Now, Chantelle Cameron come out and was like, you know, I think her reply was something like she's easy to work with and she accepted it. And she said that she accepted what was given to her initially because she just wants the fight. So there was no like pissing about with, oh no, I want this, send this back, contract. I think she just agreed to it because I think she would have known herself, I've got to agree quickly in case it disappears. So that is great to see, because sometimes I don't know what the contract is and the money is, but obviously this is a legacy fight. This is life-changing regardless of what's being offered if she beats Katie Taylor. Now, it's at the 3 Arena, and I couldn't quite remember the capacity at 3 Arena, but then when I Googled it, there's 2, isn't there? So it's 8,000 for a sitting event and 13,000 for a standing event. So it's teeny tiny, isn't it, when you think about it, that arena?
Another thought conspiracy that I have. Of course, Croke Park was the original venue for Serrano. When they had to settle with a 13K venue, they knew that it wasn't going to work from the onset. And is Amanda Serrano injured? I don't know. Did she ever declare what injury she had or whatever was the problem? No, she didn't. I think they was aware of the situation that was at hand. They was aware of what they anticipated and what they told everyone about Croke Park. So they've kind of slipped Amanda in for September. Okay, Croke Park's available then. We'll use Croke Park in September. She's had an injury. She can't be there in May. We've got a 13,000 seat stadium, which we already booked out. Let's go with that day. Let's see who's available for that. Chantelle Cameron. Yep, let's go. That will sell. So I think there's more to it than meets the eye. I saw Amanda. She's flying out to Miami either yesterday or today for an event. Hasn't mentioned anything about injury. Hasn't seemed to her or anything. But yeah,
I agree. I mean, Jack's put that Serrano's 100% hurt. Now, I must say, I think it could be a bit of both. I think potentially, yes, she's injured, yeah. But I know I'd spoken to Amanda prior, so before she got the Erica Cruz. So when she got the Erica Cruz fight, I'd spoke to her and she said how it was a 2-fight contract, and it was that she'd have Erica and then Katie. But the Katie contract was at Croke Park, and that I believe that was part of kind of the deal. So obviously, if she's then getting a phone call, her team, Jordan's getting a phone call saying, you're not at Croke Park, you're now going to be at the 3 Arena, which Jack has also said boxing is a 7,500 capacity, which is tiny. Especially, I think Croke Park was something like 83,000. Surely the purse is significantly different. So I can imagine, yes, she potentially is injured, but would she have fought through that at the Croke Park fight? Potentially. But would you fight through it at this? No, definitely not.
It seems like it's all falling in place too well. They already booked out the 3 Arena. The 20th was already in their scheduled calendar. Serrano being there was just not going to fulfill the maximum potential of what it could be. Let's just shift a few things around. Katie Taylor gets a homecoming. We get a top-level fight, and then we can continue building that towards September Croke Park.
Yeah. Which might not be Amanda Serrano. It could be a rematch with Chantelle Cameron. I'm sure they're going to see how May 20th plays out. I mean, Eddie Hearn said in an interview that he thinks Chantelle Cameron is a tougher fight than the Amanda Serrano fight. What do you think?
I would say, because of course, Katie Taylor won the first fight of Serrano. She has the edge, so she knows what it's like being in there with her. She knows that she's going to have to weather a storm of heavy punches coming through. She knows that at a point she might be rocked, and she might have to survive and clinch through that. But she knows ultimately what she's getting into. She knows what, because she's lived through it. Chantelle Cameron is a whole different case because she's a younger, newer, fresher fighter. She hasn't experienced her before. She hasn't been in the ring with her like that before. So there's more risks. There's more risks, and they don't know exactly what she's going to bring to the table. Whereas Serrano, we know what Amanda's going to bring. It's just a case of whether Katie can handle it again. But she knows the blueprint. She's got the blueprint there. She ain't got a blueprint for Chantelle Cameron.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think they're tougher in different ways as well. I think it's so hard to say which is a tougher fight because Amanda Serrano and Chantelle Cameron are just completely different fighters and different styles. So I think I think they're both equally difficult in their own right. What I'm excited, and I mentioned it last week, is the weight of Chantelle Cameron is a true super lightweight. It's not someone moving up 2 divisions like Amanda Serrano had to move from featherweight to lightweight. This excites me even more for that, to see how Katie can handle herself. Now, when I'd mentioned time and time again that there was no way this fight was happening at lightweight. It was always going to happen at super lightweight. There was no question. And people kept coming back to me saying, Katie can't make super lightweight comfortably. But that isn't true. And as she's getting older, she's probably going to be preferring to make something like super lightweight over lightweight, surely.
Let's be real. It's not going to be super lightweight per se. It's going to be 137 pounds catch weight, 1 pound over the lightweight limit, 1 pound over what she already fights at. There may be a rehydration. There probably will be a rehydration clause in there for Chantelle Cameron at some point to say she can't go above 1.342 or something along those lines. But yeah, it's when people say one super lightweight, it's not really super lightweight. It's a catch weight 137, so it's not the full potential or the full size.
Yeah, I mean, Chantelle Cameron also was a natural lightweight. She only moved up for the opportunities as well. So it's not like Claressa Shields is coming down in the meeting. You know, this is quite a true fight, true to the size, true to the weight, which isn't what the Amanda Serrano fight is. So it gives it that edge, I think, of this is like a true fight for the belts really at that division. So it is exciting. I've seen a couple of people mention this on social media. Kind of like this is a test for whether this sells well. Do they go ahead with Croke Park? Because a lot of people have come out and said they don't think Katie Taylor as a headline could sell Croke Park, which I think is nuts. Like all day, I think she sells. But, you know, and I was right last time when, you know, Shields Marshall. Oh my God. I had people follow me every day. Rak, we were there. I was right. I am right about this. Katie Taylor sells Croke Park.
No comment about the Shields Marshall venue, even though I went to the bathroom and saw some seats. But I'm guessing they also went to the bathroom in that same period of time. Exactly. But yeah, with Croke Park's an 80,000 seater stadium. I don't think she will be able to sell out all 80,000, being completely honest with you. And I think this is a good fight with Cameron to have to test the waters, see how much she can draw in. 80,000 is a lot of people. That's Anthony Joshua. That's Anthony Joshua having fought at Wembley, having fought at the O2, having had at least 5 fights in those big stadiums to make a presence, and then fight a Klitschko at 80,000 in Wembley. That's what it took to. Serrano Taylor in New York, what did it do? It did like 25,000.
It's about 20. No, I don't even think it's that. Isn't it like 18K or something? I'm sure it's like slightly under 20,000.
Let's just say it did 20,000. Yeah. Okay, had the momentum, everything. If you was to put that in Croke Park, Katie Taylor, build up the hype and everything, Taylor's coming off a win against Chantelle Cameron, looking good. 35,000.
What? 40? Stop. Is that what you're saying she can sell at Croke Park? So you're telling me Katie Taylor goes to Croke Park, regardless of whether it's Chantelle Cameron or Amanda Serrano, and she can only sell, what is that, like 45% of the tickets?
With Amanda Serrano, 40,000. 45. Let's be fair, 45.
So 50% of the tickets?
I don't think it's going to be AJ Klitschko at Wembley. I don't see that.
Katie Taylor in Ireland. She's like the queen.
Okay, as much as people keep saying she's Katie Taylor, she's big in Ireland, she's the queen, there's never been an acid test to actually prove how many people are going to come out their house and come and see her. No, she's a big deal. She's massive. But for AJ to get to Wembley, 80,000 people, that took years of development from Eddie Hearn. That took years of building him up in the O2, building him up at the OVO, building him up, and then he got there. He didn't just make his debut and done 80,000, or he didn't just have his first fight and it was 80,000 at Wembley. It wasn't that. It took time. And I feel with Katie Taylor, yeah, if you was to build her up over the space of maybe 3 or 4 years fighting in Ireland and doing PR in Ireland, then yeah, but not just for her second fight, do 80,000. That's, well.
Oh, we're going to have to put a bet on this, Rak. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. All day, I, hand on heart, believe Katie Taylor could shadow box in that ring and still sell it out. Genuinely convinced.
Here's another little statistic. Here's another little fact. When Katie Taylor and Conor Benn fought in, I think it was Liverpool in 2021, I want to say.
Yeah.
Conor Benn versus Chris Van der Heenen and Katie Taylor versus somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool and Ireland, there's a direct ferry from Liverpool to Ireland. That venue did not sell out, and she was co-headlining with Conor Benn.
It's different. In Liverpool, we only sell out the M&S Arena when it's a Liverpool stat card. It's just always the way it's been. Yeah, it's Irish heavy. I don't know. It's just not the
Is it
same.
out?
Yeah, it's
Liverpool,
Irish heavy, but they live in Liverpool. Like no, I'm not. I don't.
the Irish fans, the diehard Irish fans that are going to fill up 80,000 people at Croke Park, they weren't prepared to go to Liverpool, which is what? Like,
No, but it wasn't a big enough fight. I've got, I love Katie Taylor, but there's certain fight, there's been a couple of fights that she's in, and I'm thinking, would I drive to London for that? Potentially not. But am I going to go to Dublin for the Chantelle Cameron fight all day? I think it's different, the magnitude of the fight. And will people come from Ireland to see her? Yeah, absolutely. Genuinely, absolutely.
she's popular in Ireland, but we've seen with boxing the steps it takes for a fighter to be a stadium filler. And I don't think she's there just yet. 40,000, 45,000 maybe. I don't think it's going to be 80,000 sellout. I don't think
You've
so.
got one person agreeing with you.
I'm reading the comments and I'm getting torn apart.
You're getting hate. You know what? This is the first time I've not got any hate so far, so I'm going to try and keep this going, this positivity.
I know Black says people have traveled to New York to see her. So I know they've traveled to New York to see her, and she does have a strong fan base of people. But I don't think it will be 80,000 people at Croke Park showing up for Katie Taylor, same way Anthony Joshua does with Klitschko. I don't think so.
Well, me and Jack are going to Ireland, and you're getting left behind at the minute, Rak. You're not coming.
I'll come to Ireland. I'm up for that fight, but I just don't think it's going to be another 80,000.
I cannot wait to sit next to you and go, look, you were wrong and I was right. And then you'll have to pay me some money because we'll put a bet on it.
80,000, I don't see it. Unless, not 80,000 people. Not 80,000. What they'll probably do is they'll probably close part of the stage and they'll probably put the black curtains over somewhere.
They will not need to. It will sell out and there'll be people at the door that day who want to buy tickets who can't because it's sold out in the first few weeks. And I'll go, Rak, I told you. And now you don't have a ticket because you didn't think you needed to get one early. You were just going to buy one on the day.
I think it's a big fight. I'll be one of the people that are going to watch it. But I think there will probably be quite a few tickets to give away on the day. I think there will be some spares left over. It'll be a great atmosphere, don't get me wrong. The ones that will show up will have full passion and be fully on the agenda for it. But I just don't see it being a Klitschko Anthony Joshua. Sorry to say. Sorry to everyone in the comments, but I just don't think it will be. It takes years.
Piss people off there, but okay. So you don't think Croke Park is going to sell out? Does the 3 arena sell out at, I believe Jack said, 7,500 capacity? Does that sell out with Chantelle Cameron?
Yeah, I think they can sell that out. The fact that it's Katie Taylor, it's a novelty in that it's their hero. It's a big fight. It's going to draw attention towards it. It's the homecoming. Yeah, I think with the right promotion, the right push behind it, they get behind Chantelle, they get behind Katie, that can sell out. That can sell out. That can create an atmosphere. And depending on how much the atmosphere goes and the fight goes, then when it comes to September, they can use that to project how much of a star Katie Taylor is. And this fight will have an effect on their attendance, I think, for Croke Park in September.
Yeah. Now, I think these tickets are going to be really expensive. So I've kind of obviously got a different view to where I think Croke Park will sell out. So if I think 82,000 will sell out, then 7,500 will sell out instantly. And I think they're going to have very expensive ticket sales because I think it's going to be a privilege to be there within the 7,500, quite an intimate setting. But all day, I mean, that one sells out all day. And I just hope they push Chantelle Cameron, though, because already I've noticed with kind of what's been going on, it's Katie Taylor, it's Katie Taylor's homecoming. It's Katie Taylor first on the poster. It's Katie Taylor's name first. However, it's Chantelle Cameron's belts. So really, it should all be reversed. And I'm even interested to see even the little things of, I already know, but like, who's going to walk out first? Really? Katie Taylor walks out first with Chantelle Cameron coming second. It's even all them little things. We know that's not going to happen, obviously. It's Katie's homecoming. Her ring walk's going to be like 3 hours long. But it's all them little things of how it's quite a funny situation of, even though it's Chantelle Cameron, yet again, putting hair belts on the line. No one, like, her name's not getting mentioned. If you look at all the Matchroom markets and stuff that they sent out, all the press releases, it's all just like Katie Taylor. In one of the press releases, you would think the belts were vacant, the way it reads. And I think I hope they still push Chantelle Cameron because this is her opportunity to become a superstar that she's probably should have been for the last few years. But we'll see. Another reason. Sorry, go on.
That's the Rocky Fielding Canelo thing. Yeah, Rocky Fielding was the champion, but he walked out first to defend his belt. And in this case, the superstar that is Katie Taylor, which mirrors what the Canelo was when he fought Rocky. Yeah, I think it'll be the same thing as that.
Yeah, all day. Yeah, it makes sense. But I just really hope they still push Chantelle Cameron because that is how they're going to sell the fight as well, to make sure that it is a 50-50 fight and sell it like that. Don't sell it as Chantelle Cameron's just turning up because she's getting paid. Another reason, so obviously that's the fight, the homecoming, and officially announced today, but it's kind of been announced over the last couple of days, was this fight. So it is Terri Harper Cecilia Braekhus. So obviously this fight was signed for, oh my God, like months ago. And I will admit, unfortunately, I'm going to have to admit it, I was wrong, wasn't I, Rak? You said last week that this fight would be on this card, and I was like, no, it won't. Terri's too big of a seller. In a positive way. I was like, it's not going to happen. I will give you this. This is the first time, probably, I think I've ever been wrong. Ever.
I could name the attendance at Shaw's Marshall, but
swiftly moving on. But it is. Now it's not being announced officially as co-main, but everyone's speaking about it like it is co-main. So I'm just going to go with that for now until we know otherwise. And like you mentioned earlier on, it's very similar to the Shields Marshall card, where you've then got another kind of headline fight in a way. So we're kind of being spoiled with that.
You've got two fights that could be main events in their own right, but they jammed together on one card, which is brilliant for value, brilliant for those that are subscribed to the zone. This is the kind of content and the kind of fights that you want. You want big fights throughout the card, and this lives up to the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge. So I'm super excited for this fight anyway. Like I've said, like I said last week, I think it's super kind of courageous in a way of Terri Harper to pick this as her like voluntary title defense. She didn't have to. But what a fight, what an opportunity for both of them as well. Obviously Cecilia Braekhus has had all of that stardom and fame. And then she kind of drifted off a little bit after Jessica McCaskill. So it's great to see her back on the main stage. Great to see Terri, who continues to get pushed by Matchroom. This is, if they put on an amazing performance, I think Terri will come through this. Again, this is like life-changing, isn't it? You've got a massive event, potentially one of the biggest events of the year, and you're going to be co-headline. That's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially, of course, Katie Taylor, one of the pinnacles of women's boxing, Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron, and then alongside of that, you've got the next generation. So you've got someone like Terri Harper. You've got the former generation, of course, Cecilia Braekhus. So in both cases, you've got a fighter which is the veteran fighter versus the new up-and-coming. It's old school versus new school, new versus the past generation. And it'll be just interesting to see, is the new generation ready to step up? Is the new generation ready to take over and kind of pass the torch on? I think, of course, Cameron Taylor is probably a more closer match. Braekhus hasn't fought since mid-2021. Harper's on better form, a bit more active, so I think that's probably a bit more far away. But at the end of the day, Cecilia's a world-class fighter. She's shown her quality, her pedigree. So it's a fight that Terri needs to be game for. If Terri shows up expecting to win off of Cecilia to roll over, then there could be an upset. But I think Steffi will make sure that Terri is. Well, they're out in Tenerife training without even a date, when they didn't even have a date because they knew how big this was. So I don't think they're taking it lightly at all.
Definitely not. I think Terri's been in like the longest camp of her life. I think she's had date after date after date pushed back now. Genuinely think it's like a handful of dates. I know over Christmas she was in camp and then that date got pushed back. And obviously the Sheffield show, just I'm presuming, isn't happening now, April 29th, because obviously Fiora Usyk looks like it's happening. So I'm just so happy she's got it. Well, we'll see, but I'm just happy she's got a fight day. Like I said, I think she's been in an awfully long camp, but I definitely don't think she's taken Cecilia Braekhus lightly. I think she's got a lot of respect for her. You can even see that by like the Twitter exchanges and stuff like that. And I definitely think Terri will come through it. But yeah, she's got to have an amazing fight and an amazing performance, because Cecilia, even though she hasn't been as active, she is unbelievable. You know, she was pound for pound number one for a reason. She was undisputed champion for a reason. That there's things that won't leave her for that. So I am very, very excited. And I saw a little clip that Terri posted on social media of her sparring. She is looking very fast as well. Like, I feel like she's really growing into the super welterweight division. So we could potentially see the best version of Terri Harper on that night, which I think we're going to have to step up from Hannah Rankin. Cecilia Braekhus, I think, is fair to say. So she's going to need that extra step up. But it's a huge fight to add to the card, and it adds even more value to the card, doesn't it?
Something that I said last week on the show, I said, of course, we also have McCaskill Ivana, which is also another fight that's floating around. And I know Rick and Jess have started camp not too long ago. April the 1st would be ruled out because that's too close. April the 22nd is also quite stacked for the Cardiff cards. I think maybe 20th of May it can maybe land on there. Maybe.
Yeah, like I said last week, I don't want it to, I think you mentioned co-headline, and that's when I was like, absolutely not, because it's not a co-headline fight for me, that fight, in all respect. I would like it on the card because I really think you could build up the winner of the McCaskill Habazin fight and the Harper Braekhus fight. Either way, you can build up, and I would imagine, for me, I think it'll be McCaskill and Harper that come through. And I think there you've got a massive fight to build on the back of that. So I'd like it on the card. I wouldn't like it at co-main, especially now that we've got Harper Braekhus. Like, it just wouldn't happen.
But I think we could put onto the card, especially because we've got Katie Taylor, it's a homecoming, female boxing empowerment. We've got Cecilia Braekhus, a Hall of Fame on the card. Terri Harper, his opponent. And then a former opponent of Chantelle Cameron and Katie Taylor, who could potentially be a former opponent in the future for Terri Harper. Unified fight, McCaskill versus Ivana. So I wouldn't be surprised if that fight landed on that card as well. So
it would make sense, like you say. There's so many boxes it ticks for it to be on that fight, on that card. Sorry. Is this going to be a female only card? Is it going to be just a heavily female stack card, or is it just going to be a card?
I think it should. I don't think it should be. It's the first time you're going to a professional boxing fight in Ireland. So regardless of men, women, it's boxing back in Ireland, and I think they're going to want to capture everyone. They're going to capture all demographics, not just the female audience for boxing. Especially if they want to fill up 80,000 at Croke Park. You're not just going to have 85,000 women at Croke Park. No, you want the men to get involved too. You want the young, the older, the casuals, the hardcores, everyone. So I think it would make sense to put a Dempsey McKean on there, Kieran Agarko on there, Cully on there. Put some of the guys on there as well, just to give it that. Give it the mix. Don't make it all female.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd like to just see, just a card, regardless whether it's heavily female, because that's just the way it is, because we've got some big title fights. But yeah, I think with them two fights being announced, if you're potentially looking at McCaskill on the card as well, I think if you had them 3 fights as the female fights, I think that's actually plenty. I know someone else mentioned Sky Nicholson. That wouldn't surprise me. She literally fights in every country. Why not?
She's on every big Matchroom card. Every big Matchroom card she's on, and every card which is heavy on the females, she'll be on there. So that means 4 women's fights on the card, which I don't know. Could they get away with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's similar. If you look at the card in New York, that's just been on with Serrano and Cruz. You obviously had that fight. You had Alicia Baumgardner on it. You had Shadeja Green, Sky Nicholson, and Ramla Ali, wasn't it? So there was 5 female fights.
So it's the first fight in Ireland, and they've got a specific target of we've got to come back to Ireland in 5 months, Croke Park, and we've got to make sure that we've got as many people interested in eyes on. That's the only reason why I think they wouldn't want to go for a heavy female card. The one in New York with Serrano's from New York. The aim is to now go to Ireland. We're not trying to do a follow-up for this one because they're trying to do a follow-up. I don't know. Just would it be in their interest to make it a heavy female card, knowing that they want to try and get as many people included for?
Yeah, I like the New York card because it was just like accidental in that way. Like Eddie Hearn said, it just happened, and it felt quite organic. Of these are the fights that we want to happen at this time, so it just happened naturally. Whether it's 2 female fights, 3 or 4, whatever, as long as they're meant to be there because it's the right time. I don't like it when it feels forced. I definitely wouldn't want an all-female card. We've seen that once. I think it was amazing for the sport. And now I want it to just be like the New York card where it's just natural. It is just who's on it. And I want to see some Irish fighters on it because, like you say, what an opportunity for them. I wouldn't want to see an all-female card. I think it would be quite unfair for Irish fighters who have lived and breathed the sport for years upon years, and then they don't get the opportunity.
Like I said, it's not just a woman, it's not just a female occasion, it's a boxing occasion. So boxing includes everyone. So yeah, get the Cullys on the card, the Akarkos on the card, the McKeans on the card, get all those guys on the cards. No, don't say McKean's from Australia. What am I talking about? Get a Akarko on the cards and get Cully on the card, get those guys on there. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But either way, I'm really looking forward to it. So obviously we know the main event and the co-main, and then I know Eddie Hearn tweeted that more will be announced this week. Right, we're going to move on. So let's go with Claressa Shields and Tasha Jonas. Now, let's first start off by congratulating them because Natasha Jonas won British Boxer of the Year by the BBBOC, and Claressa Shields won Overseas Fighter of the Year. I believe... Are they? But I know Tasha Jonas is the first female fighter, isn't she, to win British Boxer of the Year?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about overseas, but obviously fantastic achievement. So congratulations to them both. And obviously they both did have a fantastic year. Obviously we know Tasha Jonas won 3 world titles in 9 months, and Claressa Shields obviously become undisputed, having beat Savannah Marshall in that fantastic card. But then we saw, I don't know, did you see this video, Rak, of Tasha Jonas with Boxer?
I saw the video, but I didn't watch it. I see the clip, but I didn't actually watch it.
Yeah. So I think she was basically just asked, how will she beat Claressa Shields and why she wins? And she kind of just said, she mentioned the weight of Claressa having to move down. And then she went on to say that she knows Claressa is fast, but Katie Taylor is faster. So kind of that comparison, and just went on to say that Tasha Jonas is feeling confident. She's active. She always says she'd be dangerous if she was active. So obviously Claressa's fired back and said, all talk, you turned down the fight already, which we know is true. Obviously, Claressa accepted the fight. Tasha declined the fight, and I believe it was due to the purse not being right, which we spoke about last week. And then Claressa went on to say, so she obviously had watched the interview and said, this is referring to Tasha Jonas. She said she didn't say she could beat me either. She just compared my hand speed to Katie's and says she considers herself a dangerous fighter because she's being active. All I care about is the signed contract. Let's fight because I'm gonna end you Barbie doll. I think that says, and then yes, I'm not Katie. Now, this is a funny one for me because I don't know if Tasha Jonas does believe she can win, because Claressa is right in what she's saying. She's not outright saying I can beat Claressa. She's just mentioning some things. And for me, it is just a payday, isn't it, for Tasha Jonas? Because it's a bizarre fight to want to take because of the weight difference for me.
Yeah, it is a strange one. And there was a comment that you had on your post just before we started here about someone saying, do you think that she's going to price herself out of these big fights? In a sense, it kind of feels like she has, because Claressa Shields' team, Dimitri Salita, sent an offer to Tasha Jonas, which she declined. Okay, so you want more money? What's actually the case behind it? Because the Terri Harper fight, okay, personal reasons, you don't want to get involved with Terri Harper anymore. That's a big fight. Okay, that's payday. Turn that down. Dimitri Salita sent you an offer. You turn it down. Okay, so you've kind of priced yourself out or pushed yourself away from 2 big fights. What more are you looking for? What more are you looking for? This is your last hurrah, your last grasp for a legacy fight. What else? Yeah. What else can be done for you? Because if you're not going to take the Harper fight, you're not going to take the Shields fight. If that's 2 less money, how much more? How much more? Tell us a number. Tell us what you're looking for, and then whoever's on the other side will see if they can match that. But I think she is kind of putting herself out of purchasing availability.
I agree. I mean, to be offered 400k for Terri Harper, 400k is a lot of money, especially in women's boxing. That is a lot of money. To turn that down, and then obviously she wanted the Claressa fight, and she turned it down because it wasn't as much as the Terri fight. And like I said last week, it never will be. You're fighting Claressa Shields for legacy, like Chantelle Cameron. This won't be her biggest payday against Katie Taylor. You're doing that for legacy because your next fight will be your biggest payday. And I 100% think she's priced herself out. But for me, I don't even think this is the first time in her career. I think that whether it's her or Joe Gallagher or whoever, I think have very high demands at times when it's not always appropriate. The Terri Harper rematch was offered to them straight away. They said no, fine. Her career did stall a little bit after that. Obviously, she then got with Boxer, and Boxer have done a fantastic job with that, and she's won 3 world titles. That's fantastic. And absolute credit to her. But they wouldn't have been massive, massive paydays. You've now got a rare opportunity. And like I said last week, where for Terri Harper, you're fighting for 400k and legacy. They rarely come together. Or you've got Claressa Shields for legacy. And you've said no to both. Like you, I genuinely don't know what else she's expecting. I would love to know what the figure in their head is for Claressa Shields. I would love to know. But I just don't see them getting it because Claressa Shields, and Ben Shalom's come out today and said he'll know more this week, but obviously the rematch with Savannah Marshall has become the focus now. But
I think the best option, I think the best option for Natasha Jonas, I think it would be best to first off take the fight. Let's say 20th of May passes by, Cecilia Braekhus, Terri Harper handles Cecilia Braekhus. She gets through. She's still WBA champion. I think the best option for Natasha Jonas would be to fight Terri Harper because in that fight, it is a 50-50 fight. You both have fought each other before. It was a draw. People went away from. I've seen all kinds of mixed reaction. Oh, Harper won, Jonas won. This person was robbed. That person was robbed. It's a 50-50 fight. You've got a good chance of winning that. You win that fight. You become undisputed. You now can go into the Claressa Shields fight. And whether you believe you can win that fight or not, you're now undisputed. You've now got a bit more bargaining power. And it's 2 paydays. If you go up against Shields first and you lose, the fight with Harper, if it's still there, probably won't be as big. And being realistic, I think there's probably an 80-20 chance of Shields winning that fight. Jonas 20%, Shields 80%. Maybe that's being generous, but let's say 80-20%. With Shields, with Harper and Jonas, you could say it's 50-50, 45-55 to whoever you like more. So take that fight, potentially win that fight. Now you can go bargain with Claressa Shields for an even bigger personal sum. And if you do come up short against Terri Harper, you've bagged 400k, which at this point looks like you're not going to be bagging in any of the next few fights coming up if it's not Shields or Terri Harper.
I agree. I think it's just a win-win for her, isn't it? I mean, like you say, you lose to Terri, you've got 400k, and potentially you've still got some other fights. I think you mentioned last week the Hannah Rankin fight. That's a decent little fight. There's still fights out there for her, but I don't know. I think it's absolutely madness. I really, really do. And like you say, I think she's going to end up with just not a lot. There's just no other big fight at the minute. You say the order she should have done it in is Terri Harper. Potentially, I don't personally see Tasha beating Terri though, but if she did, then you've got the Claressa fight. But like I say, even take on Claressa, and then okay, you don't win. Claressa would vacate anyway. If Claressa won them belts, she wouldn't be keeping hold of them for long. I think she'd vacate and just go and fight for them again. And you've got a legacy fight. No one will ever criticize you if you lose to Claressa Shields.
Yeah.
You are in the ring with one of the best to enter it. So it's, for me, all of her options were win-wins, but she's ended up with nothing for some reason.
James kind of has a good point where she was offered. Yeah, you got up. She was offered the Harper fight for a decent payday. She turned it down, thinking Shields would be in a bigger payday. Turns out it's not. So now she's kind of backed up into a corner because Harper's now. Well, yeah, she's backed up in a corner. If she goes back, she may not get the same offer as before because she turned it down the first time. So it's a bit of a situation she's got herself in. But ultimately, we know that Jonas isn't looking to fight for probably longer than a year, maybe even less than 9 months. So this is the time where she needs to throw eggs into the basket and just say, you know what, we're going to go for this, because these opportunities may not be there with the value they have this time next year.
100%. It's a shame because she had such good momentum coming off of last year. Now it's really stalled, and I do think they have priced themselves out massively. Like I say, I would love to know what. I mean, the Terri Harper fight, like you said, apparently no amount of money would have changed their mind. Again, I don't believe that. Money always talks, isn't it? There's always a number where you can be swayed. But the Claressa fight, I just would love to know what's in their head. But like I say, you don't get the big money for Claressa because she's the big money fighter. The majority of that purse goes to Claressa Shields, and that's the way it is. And I know Tasha's the one going in with the 3 belts, but you're fighting Claressa Shields. You're the one who wants that fight because she's pound for pound best. So do what Chantelle Cameron done and say, I'm easy to work with because I want the fight and I'll sign the contract today. Do that and take the fight.
Yeah, like, of course, belts mean you're the champion, but the champion, the lion's share of the purse, that's not always going to be down to the belts. Claressa Shields, yeah, wherever she goes, she steps into a room, she's always going to be the A side because it's Claressa Shields. So
yeah, and rightly so. She's earned that now, hasn't she? She's got all the accolades. She's built up fights. She's sold out shows. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm really curious to see who Tasha Jonas faces next because it needs to be good. When you've turned down 2 big fights like that, it's got to be for a good reason. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know who she fights. I know you mentioned Hannah Rankin, which is potentially likely, but it's not on the same level as the 2 she's turned down.
Of course, Hannah's a good fighter, but if you're going to go from an undisputed clash with Terri Harper or a pound for pound all-time ranking with Claressa Shields, going to another rival is, it's going backwards a bit. No discredit to Hannah at all, but undisputed and legacy fight. Fighters are always those fights.
The fight against Hannah Rankin, I genuinely like to see, and it'd be a close fight. But like you say, obviously Hannah doesn't have a belt at the minute. Hannah's not in the top 10 pound for pound, so it's just not bringing the same.
Even if she was in the top 10 pound for pound, even if she was number 8, number 7 pound for pound, it's not Claressa Shields.
Yeah,
it's not Claressa Shields. So it's always gonna have that about it.
Yeah. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right, we're going to move on to fights that happened this weekend, just gone. So we're going to start with the Fightzone Show that was up in Wolverhampton. And Katie Healy fought on this card. So she's now 6-0. She won. She won every round. It was 60-54. And it was her first fight at lightweight. She's moved up quite a few divisions. Obviously, she'd been off for quite a long time. She was back, and she'd mentioned how she was feeling quite strong at that weight. It was a new weight, but she seemed to enjoy it. Did you catch the fight at all?
No, I have not. I did not catch the Katie Healy fight. I saw that she went pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
And it was the first one back in a while after her injury, so hopefully she's out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it was a decent fight. To be fair, she's done exactly what she needed to do. Her opponent, Catherine, was quite a tough opponent. She just didn't do a lot, so it was quite difficult for Katie, really. I think at times because her opponent just did not want to engage at all. But Katie stepped on the gas. It was a bit of a slow few rounds, but she was doing what she needed to win more than comfortably. And then the last half of the fight, she stepped on the gas a little bit. Yeah, she just done what she needed to do, to be fair to her. And I thought, for me, because she was 5-0 in that fight, what I liked was she kept patient with quite a frustrating opponent. She kept concentrated. They're all ticking the boxes against an opponent who's just there because she's getting a bit of money and then she'll go home. So it was a decent win, and she's back to being active, and it was all good. So I'm looking forward to seeing Katie out again. And then it was followed by Kirsty Bavington, whose surname I've spelt wrong again, so forgive me. Give me 2 seconds. Now, obviously, this ended up being a shock because Kirsty Bavington lost against Candy Wyatt, and I will tell you the scorecards. They were, 2 of them read 98-92, with the third reading 96-94. Did you see this one?
I saw clips. I saw more of it. I saw clips of it. It was a split decision, 2 judges swayed to Candy, 1 judge swayed towards Kirsty. And it sounded from what I saw and from what I've heard, Candy boxed her, Kirsty went in and brawled her, and Candy came out the better. Came out the better with it. Of course, it's a setback. It's a setback for Kirsty because she was out in America sparring with Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah.
She's been given a platform of Fightzone to fight on, to co-headline. She's been given a lot behind her. But it happens, it happens. You don't always get it perfect on the night. You don't always get it right first time rounds. She's still the EBU champion. On the night, I was actually at York Hall and I saw Robbie Flynn, which is the Allen's manager, and he was saying, well, we're going to keep an eye on that fight because, of course, if she loses, we're still mandatory, and that's a fight that we're still going to be looking in for. So that could be potentially an option for her down the line. But we'll see what Kirsty and her team have to say over the next couple of weeks and what they want to decide to do. She could either vacate the EBU, or if another opportunity presents itself, she might take on that. So we'll see.
Yeah. And when I said it was an upset, I just meant more the home fighter loss. So obviously don't see that all the time. I think the fact that it was a split decision showed that Kirsty was a home fighter because it just wasn't that close. I think 98-92 is what I scored it to Candy White. It just wasn't a close fight, unfortunately. The first 2 rounds were close because it was scrappy. It was very high pace, very high volume of shots. So it was really tough to score because you kind of didn't know what was landing. There was just like windmills everywhere. And obviously by the 3rd round, the pace slowed down. But for me, I think Kirsty will be really frustrated with herself because she really played to Candy's kind of game. And I actually put on Twitter, I feel like you could tell she'd spent time with Jessica McCaskill because I felt like her jab had gone Kirsty's and she was just going in with her head down and kind of just trying to throw lots of shots, but she just kept smothering herself. But then it was playing to Candy because she was really strong on the inside and she was landing a lot of shots. I actually tweeted in the back half of the fight that if this was the other way round and it was the home fighter, so Kirsty, pulling off the amount of shots to Candy, I actually think the ref would have stopped it because by the 7th, 8th round, at times it was quite uncomfortable to watch because for some reason Bavvo had 0 defense and I don't know why, but she was just taking a lot of blows to the head. Her face was quite swollen at the end of it and stuff like that. And I don't know if it was just an off day, whether it was the event, the fact that she was co-main, whether Candy just come not how a lot better than she expected. I don't know, but I thought it'd be closer than it was. And I think Candy actually most of the fight completely dominated, to be fair. After that fight, there was a little spat on social media. I don't know if you've seen it. So April Hunter tweets straight away. So obviously Kirsty Bavington beat April Hunter. I feel like it was last year, wasn't it? Or over a year, actually. Yeah. So obviously quite a while ago now. But April Hunter, done a little Instagram. And then there was kind of an exchange going. Now, I'm not going to read out the message. So it was Kirsty Bavington had posted a DM from April Hunter. But basically what she's saying is Kirsty Bavington was told from people that April Hunter, kind of buckled under the pressure because of the occasion and stuff like that and all of that. So basically they've had like a little back and forth because April Hunter is obviously desperate for the rematch against Bavvo to kind of obviously reverse the wrong that she's got on her record. Mm-hmm. And then Sandy Ryan got involved. Love it. Just all over it. So Sandy Ryan's put that Bavvo, she needs beaten again. So referring to April Hunter, beat her for a second time and put her to bed. And then April Hunter's responded saying, Sandy, you done a full IFL interview in a balaclava. You're the definition of embarrassing. I want the fight. So thanks for encouraging it. And then Sandy Ryan went on to say that you can't call me embarrassing. And, she kind of criticised April for always calling out fighters better than her. Mm. I love this little spat, but I do think April Hunter can wind people up a little bit, can't she?
Well, she did the Claressa Shields. She was doing it to Claressa Shields throughout the whole week. But it shows on the press conference. So yeah, she's got a knack of doing that. She knows how to get under people's skin.
Yeah, I mean, that's not true, Jack. April wants the fight. April wants that. She keeps saying that she wants that rematch all the time. Now,
but the thing is, it makes sense for the fight because the fight now comes with a belt. So if Kirsty didn't have the belt, then it'd probably be less it may be less appealing. But now that she can avenge her loss, she has a belt. It's 2 for the price of 1. She beats Kirsty. She's now European champion. She's avenged her only loss, and she can go off into the sunset and go on to bigger and better things. And of course, that fight's going to be on Sky Sports. It'll probably be on the undercard with Natasha Jonas fight or another female fight. And yeah, that's a good opportunity there for April Hunter. Why would she not want that?
I still think that's a close fight, though. I mean, that wasn't a great performance from Bavvo, but I don't think April Hunter's last performance was great either. I think they're very, very evenly matched.
No, I'm not saying April Hunter is the favorite going into it. She's going to win the fight. I just said it makes sense for her to want to avenge her and pick up a belt along the way. But I do think looking at it from the perspective of what they've gone on to do, Kirsty's gone on to do a lot more. She's fought at a high level. She's fought for belts. April's only been doing 6 rounders. Her last fight was a 6-rounder. Kirsty's done now 2 or 3 now 10 rounders. So she's there. She's at that level. She's at European established level. We haven't seen that from April Hunter yet. And she didn't look great in her last fight again in the 6-rounder. Kirsty didn't look great against a former world title challenger. So yeah, the levels different. The difference in levels.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know. I don't even think I think Kirsty's going to have to be quite careful now with her next opponent. I don't know if she'll take the April fight or want the April fight. I think she could potentially even vacate the EBU over the D'Allen fight. She doesn't want the D'Allen fight. Is a very tough fight for Bavvo. Like, you take that next and you're coming off 2 consecutive losses. Your record's becoming quite 50-50 of wins and losses. So she's going to have to be really, really careful of kind of what she does next. I think she's more likely to beat April Hunter than D'Allen.
Do you know what I like about Kirsty Babington? Kirsty Babington's one of these fighters that they didn't start off on a TV door. They didn't start off with a contract. They didn't start off with massive promotion or expectation, but they've grinded out. They've picked up wins on the road. They've beaten fighters that they weren't supposed to beat, and now they've got themselves there. And the fact that they've got themselves there ahead of girls or fighters who were handed it more to them or told from the beginning, you're going to be big. It's just a matter of time. Just keep fighting for us. And they're jealous. It happens in men's boxing. It happens in the men as well. But we're seeing it here in this case here. Kirsty was not meant to be where she is. She's not meant to be fighting for European titles. She's not meant to be headlining any shows or co-maining. She's not meant to be holding belts, but she's doing it. And other fighters who were meant to be doing it, but they're not doing it, they got a bit of a bone to dig with her about it. And it's just, I love to see that. So shout out to Kirsty Babington. Whatever she does next, enjoy the ride. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I think Kirsty Babington's really good. I think it wasn't a great performance from her, to be fair, but it's just one of them, isn't it? She'll bounce back. I think pick her next opponent wisely, rebuild that confidence. I think she needs to get a jab and defense back a little bit. And then, just keep going. Because like you say, she's on these smaller shows, but she's taking these titles. So I absolutely love to see it. Just quickly, because someone just put in the comments. So a bit left field, but do you agree that Nicola Hopewell is deserving of a slot on kind of one of the main promotional companies? So either Boxer, Matchroom, or a BT card?
I would say straight, she does. Why not? I've seen fighters on the cards. I've seen fighters on Matchroom Boxer card more specifically that I don't think are massively great, that have massively done much as an amateur, but because they're busy fighters, they market themselves well, they look presentable and good for the camera, they're hard working and dedicated, they get the opportunity to build themselves up in their portfolio. I'm not going to mention any names.
I was going to say, come on, you've got to mention some names. Go on. I'm not going to mention
anyone on the bus, but there are fighters that I've seen on some of these rosters who haven't had a great deal of amateur experience or background, but they're given the opportunity, they're given a run out. Ultimately, these platforms need female boxers to do their thing and portray and represent. If you've got females that are going to work hard and set a good lighting image at this point on the build-up, why not? Nicola, I've known about Nicola since 2020. She's done the Unite. She's on the Bieber. She was fighting on the Bieber. She's now turned pro. She's now 3-0. She even had, she was an amateur too. She's an amateur, Bieber, and professional. Yeah, she's putting the grind. She's putting the hours. She's putting the time. Why not deserving to fight on the undercard of some of these bigger shows? Why not? Why can't she be that female to represent women?
Yeah, I think it's tough, isn't it? Because I don't know, there's tons that you can say who should be on these big platforms. Do you know what I mean? You've got Nicola, you've got D'Allen, you've got some really great fighters who really, you would probably swap them if you could put these on the bigger platforms. And like you say, there's probably a couple of girls that, you know, it's who you know sometimes, and things that how you end up getting signed, and how, you know, you end up. I can think of one in my head who signed with Boxer, and I think if you weren't friends with a certain someone, I'm just not buying the fact that you'd be signed with them. But no criticism to them, because then if I was given that opportunity, I'd also take it. So it's not criticism to the fighters, but yeah, there's tons of girls out there on these smaller shows that I would love to see on these big platforms get more opportunity, more money, more sponsorship. So, you know, but their time will come. Hopefully, obviously, you just got to keep digging away, haven't you? Or this is a good example, do what Hannah Rankin has done and just take every fight, take every opportunity in every country, and see where it takes you. I think Hannah Rankin has exceeded her potential in boxing, which is a great thing.
Hannah Rankin, let's go back to Kirsty Bavington. Kirsty Bavington is a similar story to Hannah Rankin in that she was a fighter. She didn't have she didn't have a great GB amateur pedigree. She wasn't highly touted. She wasn't favored. She wasn't meant to be in the position that she's in now. And the fact that she's there, a lot of others in the division kind of don't like it, or they feel like they get rubbed the wrong way, because as far as they're concerned, who is this girl that's just come into the scene? She didn't go for the amateurs, and she's got all these opportunities, and that should be us. We should have been doing that. We were tired for that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so she fought Logan Holler. Like Jack said, she didn't lose a round. She literally did not lose a round on the scorecard either.
I got home after York Hall and I actually watched the whole fight. It was 10 rounds,
Yeah, and you know what? It was a really good fight, I think, for Hannah, just overall in general, after that Terri loss. You know, Logan kind of done what you'd expect her to do. You know, Hannah dominated every single round. I think the only thing for me was Hannah obviously got a cut on her eye. And it's the same cut, isn't it, from the Terri Harper fight? Or it's definitely in the exact same position. It was over her left eye. I think that's a little bit worrying if it's the actual same cut that's opened up. But again, you know, Hannah's just a true professional, isn't she? She's got a cut. It's not an ideal place, and she still dominated. I think, for me, that was the perfect fight.
I remember she wobbled her. She had her on unsteady legs. I think it was the 7th round. She had a moment where the round ended and Logan Holler looked like she could have definitely done with the bell. So yeah, it was a solid.
Go on.
Yeah, it was a solid performance. She did everything that she needed to do. She put in a much better account of herself than against Terri Harper, and I can imagine from then she's looking to get back into title contention.
Jack's put Richard Farnan is a top class cut man. Can you shout that out, please? I mean, got to do some good work when Hannah's getting them cuts, because like I say, it's just in such a horrible place as well, where obviously blood will end up pouring to the eye. But then also credit to Hannah, because she guarded herself well. It didn't keep like popping open as much, so she done quite well. And Hannah Rankin is a very good talker and markets herself well. Obviously, Ebony Bridges is another one that we use quite often. But she does, and Hannah's got some unbelievable deals as well. She's got some good sponsorships. She's big in America. You know, credit to her and Noel Callan, because they've done really, really well. And I always say I'd love, when Hannah eventually retires, I would love her to continue to be a part. Like, I'd love her to be a manager, because she knows exactly what to do to get these big fights and these big opportunities. She's someone you want in your team.
She's sponsored, same way Ebony Bridges sponsors Stevie Levy and Nicole Hobo. I know that Hannah Rankin, she sponsors Joanna Wanya, who actually fought on Sunday for the Commonwealth title. So she's got like a sponsorship or some kind of agreement with them. And with Hannah, when she's not boxing, she's doing commentary with 5 Live, Talk Sport, Guys Sports, someone. She's doing commentary. She's doing bits here and there. She's always up and down Fightzone. She's a regular on. So she's always up and about the place doing bits and pieces. So yeah, I don't see her leaving the boxing scene anytime soon after she retires, rushing fighting in the ring. She's gonna be active, she's gonna be on the scene. And that someone said, yeah, she talks and markets herself very well. So let's just let's move away from what Ebony Bridges does and how she portrays herself and how she markets herself. Hannah Rankin does it in her own kind of way. It's more as the business woman, the professional woman. She does it in that sense. And I know she started up a company. She started up a limited company, Team Rankin Limited.
Yes.
Where she runs a business within herself. She runs a business, has clients, has projects, has all kinds of things that's going on. And that will be her thing after boxing, which continues to keep her living.
Yeah, like I say, you can tell she's a very good businesswoman. As you know, Noel's a very good businessman. He's, like Jack's just put, he's a good matchmaker. He is, and he's done fantastic with Hannah. Yeah, she talks very well, Hannah. Love it when she's on, whether she's pundit or whether she's on comms, whatever she's doing. She's great. She's very, very knowledgeable. She knows the sport in and out. She knows boxers in and out. So I want to see her do that, but I really would love to see her in a management role, supporting these especially these young girls coming through. She's done it. She's been on she's fought Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall, Terri Harper. She's been in with the biggest names on the biggest platforms. Like, she knows how to get it done. So yeah, I hope long may it continue, but within the ring, I don't know where she goes from here. Potentially the IBO title. I know that's her aim. She said she's fighting at super welterweight. She's staying here and she wants the title. So you got Tasha Jonas, Femke Hermans, or Terri Harper, which I don't see. I know she mentioned on the Friday night she would like the Terri Harper rematch. I put it on Twitter and it went down like a lead balloon. I don't see that happening. But you know, Tasha Jonas potentially, or for the IBO maybe, but we'll see. But big fan of Hannah. Very happy for her that she got that win under her belt again.
Yeah.
So that was all Friday night. Now Saturday night in Liverpool.
No.
Sorry.
One more Friday night. You're cool.
Your call. Go on. I've not wrote it down, but go on, Rak.
It was a Let's Go management show. So of course, Neeson had a show last week in Gloucester. Elizabeth Oshoda, she was meant to fight on it. It got put forwards, it got put forward or backwards. I can't remember which one, but it ended up being on Friday. She first Kirsty Hill. So both of them going into the fight were both 3-0. Kirsty, of course, from the UK. Elizabeth Oshoda, she's from Nigeria, who now trains and fights in the UK. And she won the fight by points decision. It was 58-56. It was competitive. They both had a fair share of the rounds, but Elizabeth finished on top. And I interviewed her after the fight. It's actually up on the Women's Fight News channel. Elizabeth said this was a Commonwealth title eliminator. So her intention is to fight for a Commonwealth title, which of course makes sense. She's Nigerian heritage. She's in the UK. Can't fight for British or area titles. She's going to fight for the Commonwealth, which makes perfect sense. So I believe one of her next fights within the next couple of months will be for that Commonwealth title. I'll need to find out from her management what. Do you know what? I'm actually going to drop her a message. I talked to her manager. I'm actually going to find out what's going to happen next with that. But she wants to fight for a Commonwealth title. And
what weight division?
She's featherweight. And Sky Nicholson, I believe, holds the featherweight title.
Ooh, she does.
So what I believe, Sky Nicholson will probably vacate the belt, because I don't see Sky taking.
Because she's got a silver, hasn't she now?
She got WBC silver. So what? You're not going to fight a Commonwealth against a tough mandatory, are you?
No, definitely not.
So yeah, that's what is that. So Elizabeth Shodoff, Nigeria. She has an interview on the Women's Fight News channel. Go check it out. She's looking to fight at some point soon. She's promoted by Mark Nielsen Promotions. So yeah, that's another one. That was Friday night.
Yeah, excited for her as well. I mean, like you say, I think Sky will vacate that, especially if she pops along. There's no way you would risk that. That's just a very risky fight. It's just a dangerous fight, isn't it? There's no way when you've got, like, say, the WBC silver. So you imagine she'll vacate, and it'll be interesting to see who else then she'll face for that, because there's plenty of girls who will want that Commonwealth. That could be a massive fight, actually, for whatever opponent ends up happening. So that'll be exciting in the future.
Also, well, it's just nice. It's just really nice to have an extra addition added to the featherweight division in the UK, because every stable now has a featherweight. Matchroom have Sky Nicholson, BT Sports have Raven Chapman, Boxer, Karis Artington. Karis Artingale, Wasserman, Lucy Wildheart boxes up around. Well, she's affiliated with them, and now under Nielsen we have Elizabeth Schroeder. So we have 5 names there, and that's what you want. Names to get you familiar with the division, to make competitive fights, to make these nice domestic derbies. Yeah, interesting time ahead. It'll be interesting to see out of those 5 who fight each other.
There's Sophie Eilish as well, isn't she? She's featherweight, isn't she?
Who?
Sophie, is it Eilish? Sophie Eilish?
I'm not sure.
I'm so sure she's featherweight, and I forget who she fights under, but she is fighting. She's fighting soon, I believe. I'll have to double check on BoxRec in a little bit, but yeah, she's another one. The featherweight division is stacked. Like in like 12, 18 months, that'll be like one of the best divisions, I think, when they've all kind of had their time. You're potentially looking at like 6, 7 massive fights there that could all be made. Right, so yeah, moving on to Friday now. So it was in Liverpool. Rhiannon Dixon, Vicky Wilkinson. Did you watch this one, Rak?
Yeah, I watched the end of it. Put her over with a body shot. Yep.
Yeah, put her over twice. Put her over twice in the 6th round. So Rhiannon Dixon is now the Commonwealth champion at lightweight after a 6-round TKO against Vicky Wilkinson. And I quite enjoyed, even though it was obviously it was only 6 rounds, I enjoyed this fight. I actually thought Rhiannon started a little bit nervous. There was a couple of close rounds. I think I only gave Vicky 1 round, I believe. Rhiannon was getting them, but there were a couple close ones. I think the first 3 rounds, Rhiannon, her footwork wasn't as good as we know it. It was still very good, probably being a little bit picky, but I don't know if she was a bit tight and nervous. And what Vicky was doing quite well was looking for that counter. So obviously, I think Rhiannon become a little bit hesitant on when to throw, because as soon as Rhiannon would throw, Vicky would kind of lunge in with like a flurry of shots. Some were a bit wild, some were landing. But Rhiannon was, you can tell, she was slightly that level above, because she was able to kind of step back when she needed to and dictate and win the rounds when she needed to. But I think from round 4, which was her best round, she really relaxed into it, Rhiannon Dixon. Footwork was back. She was creating more angles. She was using the body shot. She wasn't just headhunting. And I think Vicky then was struggling to counter. And that was Vicky's problem a little bit. She never wanted to throw the first punch. She was always waiting for Rhiannon. And as Rhiannon settled into the fight, it just wasn't working for Vicky. And then 6th round come, unbelievable. Like Rhiannon got Vicky on the ropes. Unbelievable kind of flurry of shots, and then knocked her down with a huge body shot. And to be fair, I didn't even think Vicky was going to get up. She struggled to get up for the 10 count, just managed it. They go again, and not long after, kind of repeat. She gets on the ropes, same flurry, and the ref called it off, but it was the right decision, because she only just made it to her feet in 10, and she didn't put her gloves up in time. So I think it was the right decision. And Rhiannon looked just completely shocked that she'd got a stoppage. Like, she just shocked herself of how good she was. So that was nice to see.
It was her first stoppage of her career. And we always say, when you get to the competitive fights, the fights where you've got someone coming towards you, they're more susceptible to get TKO'd or get stopped, because they're coming over, they're attacking, they open up. Whereas when you first other opponents who maybe just come to defend, it's a lot harder to get into the corners to find the holes to penetrate their defense. So I think she'll get more stoppages now that she's fighting opponents that are coming at her and are going to try and keep it a go.
Definitely. I think her confidence just rose as well. You saw the difference from when she got the first knockdown to then, even though it was only like, I can't even remember how many seconds, it might have been 20, 30 seconds from the first knockdown to the second. But even then, her confidence grew. She was really digging in body shots like I've not seen her do before. But like I say, Vicky come very game. She made it incredibly competitive. I'd quite like to see Vicky again. Obviously, she's naturally a super featherweight, so she is a division below. I know when I spoke to her in the build-up, she said, when you've got this opportunity, you've got to take it. It's a first time on, a platform like that. But she did say, she would definitely be moving straight back down to super featherweight, where she's more comfortable. I'd love to see Vicky Wilkinson again. She's hard work in the sense of, because she moves forward, she's always looking for that counter, and she has got fast hand speed. But I think Rhiannon Dixon's quite an exceptional talent, to be fair. So no shame in that loss at all. And she has also been announced today that she signed a new multi-fight promotional deal with Matchroom. No shock there, because they'll want to keep her, won't they? They won't want to lose Rhiannon Dixon at all, will
I
they?
think they're gonna take their time with Rhiannon. They're gonna continue
Oh
building
yeah.
her up. They're not mentioning anything about world honors or fighting Katie Taylor yet. Of course, as we know, Katie she's not gonna be around forever. She may not be around for even too long. End of this year, maybe. So they'll keep moving Rihanna, keep developing her. When Katie does eventually retire, vacate the belts, then Rihanna could potentially be shifting in position to fight for one of those belts, those vacant belts, when the time comes. Just strategy and position and having her in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Like I said, I don't think Rhiannon's in a rush. When I've interviewed her before, she said, she'll be in this game a long time. I think she's expecting. She was like, she had like 10 years in the game. She's not under any rush to be getting world titles when she's not ready. But I think what I like about Rhiannon is every single fight you just see massive improvements. Obviously, she come from a white collar background. I always say her and Aunt Crolla obviously work incredibly well together because the improvements every fight. I think it really showed in this one, even though I think she was a little bit nervous at the start. She was against a very credible opponent, Vicky Wilkinson is at that level of Commonwealth level. So it was a very good opponent for her. Definitely a step up. And she got, like you say, she got the stoppage because Vicky was game and Rhiannon saw the opportunity and shows she does have power. So I'm looking forward. Like I put on Twitter today, she's definitely a future world champion. But she's got some tough people in her division, Caroline Dubois being one of them, who has said she would like that fight for the Commonwealth title. Obviously, we know it's not going to happen. Someone else who I know wants to fight is Jordan Barker Porter. So now I've spoken to her a little bit and she said obviously Jordan's got her own fight coming up and she's very focused on that. But she says she's then definitely after that Rhiannon Dixon fight next for the Commonwealth. I'm a fan of Jordan Barker Porter, so I'd like to see that. I think it's a tough fight, but it's a big domestic clash. So yeah, I'd quite like to see that potentially. But obviously Jordan's got her own fight to focus on first. And then the same night, so we'll move from Liverpool to France, to Paris. Lauren Price, did you catch this fight on Saturday night?
Yes, I had a split screen.
Yeah.
So Lauren Price, of course, is an Olympic gold medalist. She done what we expected her to do. She won the fight. You know, comfortable. I don't think she lost a second of any of the rounds. Had it under control and worked it well. Now, I think this is sometimes it's a double-edged sword. This one, how it works with the Olympians, because you've got such a high ceiling and expectation for them that when they have a fight and they kind of just breeze through it, it's like, okay, is that it? What more? What is there to do? That's nothing special. You just won it easily. There's no anticipation. We don't take pride. We don't celebrate the fact that they won. We don't take the fact from that. It's how did you win? So this fighter, she was 6-1 going into it. Her last fight, I believe it was against Kirsty Babington.
Yes.
With the European title. Kirsty Babington beat her, and Kirsty Babington, because of course, like I said before, Kirsty Babington was expected to be where she is. So that was celebrated. Oh, it's a good win. She's won a European title. Yeah, that's great. Go Kirsty. Lauren Price does it. You're an Olympian. You did the same thing as Kirsty Babington. You should be doing a lot more than this. You should be getting out of there. You should be battering around the ring. But yeah, that's the thing. And just going on to a point I think we made when me, you, and Susie were here a few weeks ago, that with some of the Olympians, with Lauren Price, we haven't seen that standout performance yet. We haven't seen that performance for us to be like, yeah, she's got it. She's the future. And this is shades of what she's going to do for the future. Kind of like with Caroline Dubois. With Caroline Dubois, she's showing that. She's showing that she's got it and she's going to potentially take the division by storm. We haven't seen that yet, Lauren Price. And like I said, not knocking her at all. It was a great win for her third fight, I believe it was.
Yeah.
But we're just waiting for that performance to blow us away and get us on the edge of our seat.
Yeah, I couldn't make my mind up about the fight. I like Lauren Price, and I've quite liked her last two performances, to be fair. But with this one, I think it wasn't the most entertaining of fights, but not really her fault. I think her opponent, she just didn't do a lot, did she? And I think what Lauren done well was refuse to chase her opponent around the ring. I think Lauren stood her ground quite well in the center of the ring and was patient and waited for her opponent, who just kept throwing tons of feints, not really doing anything, and then we're kind of stepping at the right time. So I think for me, it was a very mature performance. You can tell she's experienced, because I think, Sky Nicholson, for instance, in her last fight, chased this girl around the ring, exhausted herself, and she didn't need to. I think Lauren Price really stood her ground. You can tell she's confident in her own ability, confident in her own style. But it might not be fan favorite. I think when you compare, we shouldn't really compare it to Karis, but everyone does naturally. Karis Artenstall has got a fan favorite style. She comes forward, she's got big shots, she likes to move up and down, she's got massive hooks to the body. I think Lauren is more like tactical and more patient. So it probably doesn't excite us now, but in the future, when she's fighting people at world level, that's probably when we'll see the best of her. So she still excites me, definitely, but yeah, she's not a fan favorite in that sense of a style at the minute. But for me, I thought it was quite a mature performance against another opponent who kind of, I don't know, just kept walking around. She just didn't really want to engage too much, which it must be quite frustrating, mustn't it? Because, I'm sure Lauren wants to just go and fight, but she got the win. She's 3-0. Like I say, I think she plans to go back to the Olympics anyway. So I suppose this is all just little steps, isn't it, until she returns? So we'll just see what happens.
Such Olympians is a no-win situation. Yeah, I can fully understand that, because you match an Olympian and they blow someone out in a round. It's like, oh, what's the point in that? You match an Olympian and they go the distance. Oh, they should be doing better than that. Like, what is this? It's Olympians. So it's a very hard one. And that's why matchmakers, promoters need to kind of just stick to their own plan with them, because if we listen to the audience, we're going to put them in a big fight too soon. And
like Sandy Ryan.
They're like Sandy Ryan. Yeah, put them in too soon, out of their depth. They lose, then the momentum's kind of killed. And then people are saying, oh, they're not that good anyway, are they? So yeah, it's a tough one, matching the Olympians. It is indeed.
You can't win. I mean, I know Raven Chapman didn't go to the Olympics, but when she blew that girl out in her BT debut, for me, she looked very impressive, because that opponent takes everyone else a distance, and Raven got rid of her within like 58 seconds or something. Everyone criticised that and was, didn't appreciate actually what she'd achieved. And then I think Raven went the distance with someone, and everyone criticised that because she didn't knock her out. And I was like, well, what's she to do?
What do you want her to do?
Like, is there a perfect round and seconds that is appropriate to knock someone out, or are you just going to piss everyone off? Like, you literally just can't win. Like you say, if Caroline Dubois is knocking girls out, and the first thing I see on Twitter, shit opponent. So if Caroline Dubois goes the distance with someone, she's shit all of a sudden. So it's like, well, come on. You like, some fans are just mad. There's just no pleasing some people, I think.
Boxing Twitter, you can't win. You cannot win at all.
No, you literally cannot win. So they were kind of like the main kind of fights that took place this weekend. And then we'll talk about a couple of fights coming up. So let's just quickly start with Maisie Rose Courtney, who is going to be in Newcastle on the next gen card on Saturday, I believe. I think it's Saturday. So she she just 1-0, isn't she, at the minute, Maisie?
1-0. She last fought on the Katie. Well, it was a very funny one, because her debut she was a float on the Katie Taylor undercard, Katie Taylor card, and she ended up being the co-main. So imagine that, you're a female fighter and you make your debut just before Katie Taylor comes out. So what a debut, what an ovation, what a piece to put down in your career. That was her first fight. Since then, she signed a multi-fight deal with Matchroom. And next Saturday, she's going to get the train rolling, and she's going to start with those fights.
Yeah, and she's fighting Bushra, who has got a record of 3 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. She's been in the ring with the likes of Nicola Hopewell, Shannon Ryan, which was at the Shields Marshall card, and she's also been in the ring with Shannon Courtney. So she's quite tough, to be fair, Bushra, and she's experienced. Like I say, she's been in the ring with some good people, but you expect Maisie Rose Courtney to come through. But a nice fight for your second fight. I think it's a decent opponent for sure. So
Maisie, she was the first lady at Repton, first girl at Repton. What was it? She was in 10 finals. She got to 10 national finals. She won 6 of them. So yeah, great accomplishment. Established amateur. has that pedigree. First fighter out of first female fighter at the Matchroom gym. She trains with Kevin Mitchell, and I think it's Tony Sims. No, Kevin Mitchell. She trains with Kevin Mitchell. That's the trainer. Kevin Mitchell's the trainer. She's around all of the Sims fighters. She's around Cordina. She's around Craig Richards. She's around Ryder. All of those guys. So she's getting the rub. She's seeing what it's about. And from her track record as an amateur, and from what she's doing around now, yeah, I think this is a good level fight for her. She's being matched well. She's been matched tough. Of a son of her caliber, you think that this is appropriate for her.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very good fight. To be fair, there's potentially easier fights, but yeah, you expect Maisie Rose to come through this, but it's a good level fight. It's people will still criticize, I'm sure, like we've just said, but it's a good fight for her to get through. So looking forward to that. That's taking place on Saturday, and then we've got two fights here that we'll talk about. So Jack Gladman is the matchmaker for these, I believe.
Yep. This is for the Brentwood show on Friday.
Is that in Essex?
Brentwood, Essex, yeah. So I've been eyeing this show for the last couple of weeks on whether I'm going to go or not. And I finally made the decision I'm not going to be able to make this show. Looking at the logistics, I know I'm letting down the team, letting down the community.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours from my house. 2 hours.
No, we're not playing this game again. Rak, I go to London all the time and it's like 3.5 hours. You can go 2 hours. Don't start this.
So what, for me, okay, I live in central London. For me to get there, I got to get a tube to Tottenham Hale, which is like 45 minutes from my house. And from Tottenham Hale, one of my mates who's going, he'll pick me up from there and he's going to drive us there. And that's maybe another half an hour, 45 minutes. So I basically, put it this way, coming home, the show finishes at 11. I'm not going to get home till like maybe 1 a.m. or something crazy like that. Public transport. Or public transport.
Oh, what an awful excuse. Wow. So you're going to miss out on these fights?
Yeah, but Jack, you're going to be staying at an accommodation which isn't 2 hours away. You're going to be staying somewhere in the area, like, or one car ride away. I'm not getting
Jack,
one car ride.
you're also working it, so it is slightly different, but...
I've got to get a lift to the station, and from the station, I've got to then get another train, which if the night train are even running at that time. Not making excuses, though. No excuses.
Poor. That is poor. I would do it, but that is poor. So one of the fights, so we've got Nicola Bark, who is, I believe, 3-0.
It's 3-0. Okay, so Nicola Bark, she was training originally with Terri Stewart at the Essex Fight Academy. Linus Adolfo, Brad Pauls were stablemates. She's been fighting. She was training out of that gym. Now she left that gym a couple of months ago, and I believe now she's based at Steel City, Sheffield, which I'm not sure how that works because she doesn't live in Sheffield. I've not actually asked her about how that works out. But yeah, she's now based out of the Steel City gym. So this is gonna be her first fight under the Steel City, under the Steel City ban. Of course, Steel City have the likes of Dalton Smith. They got the likes of Sonny Edwards. Also, Nicola, she had an eye operation last year. So she had an eye operation last year. And I think she's had one fight back since then. This will be her second fight back after it. So yeah, still coming back into the recovery stage. She's facing Laura Rieo, who is a 1-0 fighter from Spain.
Yeah.
Interesting matchup because, of course, when you're 1-0, you're still here in the mentality of I'm here to win. I'm coming to have a fight. So 2 undefeated fighters going at it. Should be a good test for both girls.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one. Some good matchmaking from Jack then, isn't it? Because 2 undefeated fighters, you don't see that often. I believe this is on the same card as well. Am I correct?
Yep. Maria Melenica. You know, both of these girls, Maria and Nicola, I've done pieces on them for the women's magazine, Women to Watch.
Yeah.
So Maria, she's
recently signed, isn't she? Who's she signed with now? What management?
Let's go. Yeah. So Maria, she's Croatian and she fought in the Croatian amateur national team. So after she had 2 pro fights, she actually went back to amateur boxing and was fighting for Croatia because in Croatia she's quite highly regarded, highly ranked. She gets a lot of opportunities in the amateurs. It pays her way through. Why would you give that up?
Yeah.
She actually retired from boxing. She actually said she's going to leave it and just focus on the amateurs. She's now come back. She's no longer at Sam Mullen's gym. She's now, I can't remember what gym she's at, but she's now gone to another gym. She's got a new setup and a new team around her. Leeton's now managing her. And yeah, this is her first fight under the new banner, new trainer, new management. So she's going to be looking to get herself back into the mix. Robbie Flynn. Robbie Flynn now, yeah. So yeah.
I interviewed her a while back, talking a good few years back, and I know then she was kind of just speaking about the amateurs, and I think it was difficult for her for these pro fights, getting the right trainer, getting the right management, getting on these shows. So when I saw that she was recently kind of like signed to a new management, obviously then she's with Robbie Flynn, who's a great trainer, a great manager as well in his own right. I'm happy for her because she is a very credible fighter. She is a great amateur, someone who really should have been probably pushed along a little bit quicker than what she has. So I'm glad she's decided to come back and obviously give the pro ranks another go. And looking forward to her fighting. Maria's 2-0, but obviously it was a while back, wasn't it? I think her last fight was 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
So it's been a while. And then her opponent has a record of 1-52-0, who is also down, I believe, to be fighting Laura Wilson in just a few weeks. Mm-hmm. So she's going to have to hope she comes through this fight with no cuts and lumps and bruises, so she can keep that fight, because obviously it's Laura Wilson's debut. I think she's been waiting for a debut for quite a while, so hopefully that comes through as well. I'm looking forward to seeing Laura Wilson actually as well make her debut. She was doing some good things, so exciting times. And I believe that is happening. It was Saturday, wasn't it, in Brentwood, Essex, where you won't be. Friday, apologies. So it's happening Friday. More reasons to go Friday. Why are you bothered about 1 a.m. on a Friday? What are you doing Saturday to have a sleep in?
It's just getting home late. It's the journey, the commute back. I sat on the fence about it for a while. It was only a couple of days ago that I think, I can't do this. I can't do this journey.
You're not
dedicated. I apologize. I'll be at the next one.
I travelled 5 minutes up the road on Saturday to go to boxing, so I think we know who's more committed at the minute, don't we, Rak? It's not you.
You this weekend, out of the women's fight news trio, you was actually busy. Friday night, you was out on a job. Saturday night,
I didn't make it to Wolverhampton. Do you know why I didn't make? I had to watch it on TV. Thank God it was on BBC. Because it snowed so heavy in Liverpool, like the heaviest it snowed in years in Liverpool. And I was like, there's no way I'm making it to Wolverhampton in one piece. I'm going to have to leave it.
Where's your commitment? You should have got your sit out, those shepherd dogs, and just sailed across the motorway.
I was so upset because I'm not out of the Matchroom card and the Fightzone cards. Obviously, I love watching Rhiannon. I was so excited for that. But overall, I wanted to see the Fightzone one probably more.
Yeah, there was more on there.
Yeah, I was a little bit upset. But I got to watch it. Thank God it was on Fightzone for free and BBC iPlayer for free. So I got to watch every single fight.
An announcement, Fightzone app is now free. You go onto the website, sign. It literally takes 2 minutes. You type in your name, your email, your phone number, and you sign up. I signed up right now. I signed up a few days ago. And it's got all of the content on there. It's got loads of the fights. It's going to have even more content coming up. So,
yeah. They've got a lot of fights as well, especially if you're looking at the DAZN app and they've hardly got any shows on the last couple of months. Fightzone are doing a lot of shows recently, aren't they?
Do you know, I only realized this recently. Fightzone isn't linked to one promotion. Fightzone is its own independent film crew. It goes on and films different events, whereas DAZN will only shoot Matchroom boxing. Okay, fair enough, Golden Boy, but they're in America. But in the UK, they only do Matchroom. Fightzone do, various Fight Academy, BCB, the one that's up in Newcastle. I can't remember what they're called, but they actually do various. That's why there's so many shows. I didn't actually know that until I done a job for them 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, so it's different. So lots of content on the Fightzone. it's for free. It's for free. You cannot complain at all. So sign up the Fightzone app, get it while it's free. And Jack, I apologize to offend you, but man, it's a long journey from home. It's a long journey and a long long night on a Friday. Apologise.
Well, I'm sure Laura's fighting in Newcastle, 3 hours away. I might make it though. I might be able to be committed enough to make it. So we'll see. But yeah, Rak, if it's not on Rak's back door, he just doesn't go. If it's
No.
if it's not at Wembley, you're just not going.
I travel mostly around in London. Anywhere within the M20. I've even been to Essex Circus Tavern. Yes, Jack, that's where I met you. We went to Circus Tavern. I went there. That's not necessarily in London. I went to that one. I was able to make that.
Basically London, though.
No, it's not. Circus Tavern is not London. That's Essex.
Essex is London to me. Like, that is just London, isn't it? That's how I see it. It's all the same.
It really isn't. But do you know, it's travel logistics. With Essex, with Circus Tavern, I can get a train that takes me mostly there. With Brentford, there's not a train that takes me straightly there, kind of thing. But it is what it is.
Poor. But yeah, I feel like that is like the main bulk of what's happened this week. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about with the Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron, because I know more announcements are going to be coming up. But I just want to leave it on this comment from ages from the beginning of the fact that Rak doesn't think that Croke Park will sell out. And I'm going to we'll always have this episode on YouTube. I'm going to make sure I write down the date that we done it. I'm going to do what you done to me the other day and edit out the bit that I got wrong. I'm going to get that ready. As soon as we go off air, I'm cropping that. I'm getting it ready. And it's going to be there.
I'll say it now to make it easier so it's at the end so you ain't got to go back through. Katie Taylor is a big deal in Ireland. She is probably one of the most popular people about there. But as far as a stadium fight of 80,000 people, I don't think she's going to be able to sell that for her second fight there. I don't think so. As I've said before, with other fighters that fight on stadiums, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, they are built up to then fight in front of those kind of audiences. Their first fights in the country wasn't at 80,000 people at Wembley. It wasn't that. And Katie Taylor, yeah, as popular as she is, she's not been built for 80,000 people. So if we see 50,000 or less, I think that would be a great achievement for Katie Taylor Croke Park in September.
I cannot wait to be right. I'm actually so excited.
I will finish. Katie Taylor, I like Katie Taylor, and like I said, me coming from London, I will go to Dublin to watch that fight. I just don't.
But you won't go to Essex. Got you there. And Jack's buying drinks in Durham, which I also would just call Newcastle. So I'm definitely going now, Jack. I'm there. You've sold it to me. Also excited to see Laura Wilson fight as well. But yeah, we'll be back next week, back next Monday. Hopefully I'll prove you wrong again, Rak, somehow. I tell you what, the Chantelle Cameron Katie Taylor fight, when that sells out instantly, you're gonna go, oh shit, I'm wrong. That'll be it.
Cameron Taylor.
Yeah, wait, because then if that sells out instantly, you'll then know Croke Park will sell.
No, you can't say because an 8,000 venue goes out. That 80,000.
That's how I'm doing it. That'll be round one to me. That's what I've decided. So if Taylor Cameron sells out, round one to me. Done. I win. 1-0.
They sell out 8,000 venue. That means they're going to sell out an 80,000.
7,500, but I will still win. Right. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And like Rak said, he's had an interview out lately. We've had a couple of new content out, so make sure you all check it out. And back next week. See you all then.
See you guys next week.